Good morning. Another exciting fast shoe to run in today. I just got the ASICS Metaspeed Edge Paris yesterday. I was actually planning on taking the day off from running today, but I can't leave those sitting on the shelf. Had to get them out and give them a try. I do have a couple immediate concerns. One of the best things though, I weighed these 7.58 ounces in US men's 12, which is officially the lightest shoe that I own. It's the only shoe I have that's under 8 ounces. So in my size, that's amazing. Under 8 ounces, 39.5 stack in the heel. In my size, the stack actually goes up as the shoe size goes up, so it's probably closer to 43 millimeters in the heel, and the shoe is still less than 8 ounces. So that's amazing that ASICS was able to do that. The foam immediately feels softer and bouncier in this shoe than the previous Metaspeed Sky. That had their Flight Foam Turbo. This is the Flight Foam Turbo Plus. It's definitely squishier in the heel of this shoe. The big difference between the Edge and the Sky this go around is the Sky's plate is closer to your foot and pretty much flat, so there's more foam underneath the plate in the forefoot, whereas in the Edge the plate dips down lower and there's more foam under your toes, where the plate's closer to the ground. I'll get more into how ASICS says these should differ and who they're going to be best for later in the run. But the two concerns that I have a little bit right out of the box, I heard that this shoe ran a little bit longer, so I got the I had the previous one in a 12.5, and I needed that space in that shoe. This one I got it in a 12, and it feels like my left foot, it's fitting me absolutely perfect, but my right foot, it's not as quite a good a fit. My my outside toes, like my pinky toe, I can feel it touching, and the toe right next to that, I can feel it touching the upper. The upper is also kind of like leaning down on top of my foot. I don't know if you can see that there. This part right here, it's really kind of leaning over, so I can feel my toes touching this part of the upper. I'm hoping that'll kind of like stretch out a little bit once I start running, and it won't feel that way. Also, just looking at it standing here, it looks like this shoe is going to have some stability issues. I tend to overpronate it with my right foot. You can see there, this really is wobbly on top of that stack of foam. Having that really soft foam in the heel, this feels like it's going to be an unstable shoe. So we'll see how it feels once I actually run in it. So let's do that. All right, so 1 mile down in my warm-up, and I just wanted to stop and talk about things a little bit. This is a seriously fast shoe. That first mile I did in about 7:20, again with my heart rate not really that elevated. This one has a really explosive bounce and toe off from it. The foam is much softer. This Flight Foam Turbo Plus, much softer, much bouncier than what was in the previous Metaspeed Sky. This to me, the bounce and the feel of the foam is reminding me more of the Prime X Strung from Adidas. So anybody that likes that shoe, this is like the Prime X Strung Turbo. You know, if you were gonna, you know, you wouldn't use the Prime X Strung for a 5K. It's just like too much of a maximalist shoe. This has a lot of the feeling of that shoe, but in a lighter, sleeker package. Funny to call it sleeker with almost 40 millimeters of stack height in the heel, but compared to 50 in the Prime X Strung, this is like a minimalist Prime X Strung. Now a little bit about the upper. I found the Prime X Strung to actually be rather large in the toe box. It kind of like comes up to a dome over your toes. This shoe is the opposite. It is one of the tightest fitting uppers of any shoe that I have. It's still weird to me that I'm getting like a perfect fit on the left shoe, and the right shoe not as much. It feels smaller. So that's, I don't know if that's a manufacturing thing, but my feet are not different sizes. I've never experienced this in any other shoe, where one foot fits perfectly and the other one I feel my toes up against the upper. But upper very thin and perforated, very lightweight. I love the laces in these shoes. I've been complaining about laces recently, stretchy laces and some other offerings. These basically copy the Nike laces that they put in the Vaporfly and the Alphafly. They have those little teeth on them, so these like to bite really nicely. I'm getting no slippage, a nice lockdown in these shoes. I am concerned about the overpronation though. Where the shoe that's this bouncy and this high, when it has that narrow of a heel, it's just going to be a little bit more wild for me. I could see these being a really excellent race shoe for a 5K or a 10K. I have to try a longer run to see how I feel after running like a half marathon distance. I'm not sure if I could take these for a marathon just because of that instability in the heel. But man, do these feel light and fast and awesome. Like I don't even feel the upper except for where it's touching my foot on the right side. But the upper's just there to hold you on to that really beautiful midsole. Like amazing bounce and roll from this. I'm just flying over the ground in these. They're really nice. And I haven't even tried to run fast yet. So I'm gonna do a little bit more of a warm up, try and do a couple quicker miles, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the run. What a shoe. Good job to ASICS on this one. I'm starting to feel like that right foot, the upper is starting to like adjust to my foot a little bit. I'm not really feeling that rubbing anymore, so that's a good thing. I am getting a little bit of overpronation on that right foot, but not a ton. It doesn't feel bad, you know, when I'm running in it. When I'm looking down, I can see that my ankle is moving a little bit, but it's not anything bad. The question is, again, how would that do over a marathon? If I'm getting tired towards the end of a race, that might be a little bit worse. But wow, these feel fantastic. This might be the fastest shoe I've ever run in. Like the amount of energy return these are giving you is amazing. They're just great. Going back to that Adidas example, the height of these is more like the Prime X Strung, but the experience is more like the Takumi Sen. And the Takumi Sen is my favorite tempo shoe. Light Strike Pro has that kind of shallow bounce, really good energy return, but very direct. This shoe is kind of like right in between the Takumi Sen and the Prime X Strung. So if you're a big fan of either of those shoes, I think this is going to be a great option. It's much faster, more nimble than the Prime X Strung, and it's like an energy return bumped up to 11 version of the Takumi Sen. The other thing that's amazing about it is, I have to double check, I think Takumi Sen has like maybe 35 or 33 millimeters of stack in the heel. This shoe has 39.5, and again, I'm a size 12, so I'm a larger size than the sample size. It's probably over 40 millimeters of stack in the heel, and this shoe is lighter than the Takumi Sen. So again, amazingly, this is the lightest shoe that I have, and it's one of the max stack legal race shoes, which is just amazing unto itself. Okay, some good news. The upper's not bothering me. And even better news, these shoes are magic. Like, wow. It's the lightest shoe I've ever run in. That's one thing. So it feels like I'm running on clouds here. Like I don't feel the upper at all. It's like I'm just running on a midsole, which is great. And the midsole might be the best combination of foam and a carbon plate I've ever felt in a shoe. It's bliss. When you get up to speed in these, it's just like a miracle. Like I just don't understand, you know, it just feels so light and airy and fast. Just cruising along removes, you know, effort from that like just I'm kind of dumbfounded. The feeling of these is just phenomenal. I know from YouTube's analytics that it's mostly men who watch my channel. I don't know if any of you watch The Bachelor with your wives, but it was hometowns this week. The finale's next week, and a lot of the people are moving from falling in love to in love, you know, with The Bachelor. And I think that just happened to me with these shoes. I'm ready to go meet the Edge Paris's parents. It's a phenomenal shoe. Like, I want to find a 5K right now and run it, because I think I can do a personal best in this shoe. My only concern with these is if I'm going to use them for a marathon, how that stability is going to hold out over that long of a run. So I'm definitely going to test that out. I'm going to take these for a longer run at faster pace and see how they do. But first impression today, these are making the best first impression on me of any shoe I've ever run in. These are basically reminding me of the Vaporfly, but I like them way more. And that I have my 5K and 10K personal best in the next percent too. I feel like I could just destroy in these. This is the ASICS Metaspeed Edge Paris. Did I mention that it's really light? Take a look at the chart over there. This is now the lightest shoe that I have of any racing shoe that I've ever bought. Coming in at 7.58 ounces. Lighter than every other shoe that I have, even though this has a maximalist stack. So that's super impressive that ASICS was even, if we compare this to the previous Metaspeed Sky, that was only 33 in the heel and 28 in the forefoot. So this shoe actually gained 6 millimeters of stack and weighs less, almost an ounce less, just about an ounce less. So I don't know how they did that. This foam is just better in every way. It's softer, it's bouncier, and it's lighter. So that's kind of amazing. The weight of this shoe, I believe, is only second to the Adidas Adios Pro Evo 1, which was that, you know, limited release shoe that they made that was going for $500, and you could use it for one marathon. Let's see what it looks like on StockX right now. Oh, I can get one for $1,678 to get a shoe lighter than this one. So I think I'll stick with the ASICS as opposed to that. I'll show a graphic from ASICS that just kind of shows like a breakdown of the shoe, that it's lighter weight, the way the plate's designed in this one. And the thing to look for with this shoe, there's two visual differences when you're looking at the Edge Plus or the Edge Paris or the Sky Paris. The number one is this yellow part right here. This is indicating where the carbon plate is placed. So you can see the ridge kind of running through the shoe here, and in this one it dips down low and comes up at the bottom of the foot. And on the Sky Paris, it's pretty much a straight plate. So you'll see the yellow actually comes up higher on that shoe because it has not as big of a dip in the front of the plate here. This one also has black on the outsole. The other shoe is like a pink reddish color on the outsole, and they cut out a little notch right here in it as well. But visually, that's really the only differences in the shoe. Also on the Sky, this part of the shoe comes out a little bit further in the midfoot. It's a little bit wider in the midfoot. And really what ASICS is saying about these is one's better for a stride runner and one's better for a cadence runner. So what does that actually mean? Not everybody really understands. But really the idea is certain people, when they run faster, they extend their stride. They have more of a bounding stride. They're going up more, you know, to gain their speed, increasing their stride length. So that shoe has more foam under the forefoot so that it's softer when you're landing, and the carbon plate can actually compress more foam to try and give you more of a trampoline-like effect. So if you have more of a long bounding stride, that's supposed to work better for you. And then this shoe, having the carbon plate that bends down, is supposed to be more for a cadence runner, where if you're trying to run fast, you're going to increase your cadence, your steps per minute, to do so rather than increasing your stride. I think basically whenever anybody runs faster, they're going to increase their stride length and their cadence. That kind of happens together. But this shoe, the rocker kind of starts a little bit further back because the placement of the plate, and there's more foam in the heel underneath the plate and less foam in the forefoot underneath the plate. So to me, I feel like this has more of a, this is going to work better if someone's more of a heel striker or a midfoot striker. You're going to take advantage of that soft heel as the landing place and then start into the roll and take advantage of that plate design. So it's interesting because I've watched a few reviews of this before I got this shoe, because I was going to decide which one to buy, because I buy all my own shoes. I wasn't going to buy both. So I kind of wanted to know which one I thought would be better for me. And I do kind of have more of a midfoot to heel strike when I run. So based on the reviews that I saw, it sounded like the Edge was going to be a better choice for me. And it's funny because I just went to ASICS website and take a look at the sales right now. Looks like the Edge is sold out in all the normal size that people wear, and the Sky is fully available. So the early consumer insight into this shoe is that the Edge is the one to get. Now, I can't tell you that because I'm not going to run in the Sky, because I don't have endless money to buy shoes. If ASICS want to send me one, I'd be happy to compare them, but that's not going to happen. So what I really need to do with this shoe right now is find a race. I need to find a 5K, find a 10K, and go run as hard as I can and see what kind of speed I can get out of this shoe. On that initial run, I ran the fastest I've ever run in my life. So I'd hope to think that some of that is my training is now paying off, but also running the lightest shoe I've ever worn with a really bouncy foam and an excellent carbon plate and rocker design is not going to hurt. So I really want to get these into a race, and I also want to run longer in them to see how that stability feels over a longer effort. That's really the only potential downside I see with this shoe, but just, you know, first impressions, it's absolutely amazing. So how does it compare to the Endorphin Pro 4 that I just ran in? They don't. they're just not even the same type of shoe in the slightest bit. I'm going to do a run soon where I take out some of these super shoes again and do a back-to-back comparison. But just having worn this one yesterday and this today, they're like a completely different class of shoe. This one, to me, it's like... it's all about comfort. It's still a fast shoe, but it's also very wide. It has a very wide forefoot, a very wide heel. It's stable. It's got a lot of rubber. It's grippy. This to me is like a workhorse, you know, that's going to be more durable, very comfortable and stable, but it's really more of a softer bounce and a roll. It's more like kind of casual, and this one is so aggressive. I feel like if it was like a car, this would be like, I don't know, BMW M3, you know, where it's like a sports sedan that's fast but still has some creature comforts. This is like somebody gave me a Formula One race car. Like, and I'm like, do I have the... am I allowed to drive this thing? Am I qualified to operate this machinery? So as far as speed goes, there's nothing in it between these two shoes. This one just obliterates this one like it's standing still. This is still a good shoe, but they're a completely different shoe. Now, which one's going to be better for me than for a marathon? I don't know. This might actually be better for me. If it's more comfortable, more stable, I can get up to the marathon pace that I want, and it's going to work for me for that. Whereas this one, I can get up to blistering speeds, but, you know, how is it going to perform for me over a longer distance? So that's what I'm going to have to find out in upcoming races. Now, this one does retail for $250. So this is on the high end for super shoes these days. The highest priced ones are $250, $275. But this is definitely worth the money. I mean, it made such a great impression on me. I think it's one of the best shoes I've ever run in. So I'll have to see, you know, how my feelings develop for this one, but I already fell in love apparently from earlier in the video. So we'll just see if my love grows into something that is sustaining, or if it's just a short fling and, you know, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So I'll be doing a lot of running soon in super shoes, you know, comparing all these and seeing really how I feel about them, how they compare to each other. So check back in on the channel for my thoughts on how these shoes compare, going head to head. And please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.